Personal management and organizational behavior module 4, leading your team effectively, strategies. Facing oneself, defining your own features in order to give the best of oneself. A person who leads a team needs to be aware of his or her strengths and weaknesses, as this can determine whether he or she will succeed as a leader or not. Value should be placed on development of qualities of each person and strengthening new skills so that gives an employee a sense of fulfillment. According to Maslow, there are a number of qualities that good team leaders need to develop, and they tend to develop. Ability to perceive reality efficiently and accurately, acceptance of yourself and others, being spontaneous and natural, paying attention to problems, being relatively autonomous, ability to appreciate the simplest things, occasionally experiencing mystical sensations in which one can feel outside time and place, feeling identified with mankind, being democratic and respecting others, being fair and able to establish and distinguish what is right and what is wrong, being reasonable, having an inoffensive sense of humor and laughing with someone, not at them, being creative and inventive is the simplest things, always being eager to change and improve. Now we come to strengthening the ego. The ego is closely linked to the inner image we have of ourselves. We need to have a clear vision of where we want to go and what we want to do. The most important factor when it comes to strengthening our ego is to have a good mental health. Giving the best of ourselves, success. The key is to give the best of ourselves is to develop a program that forces us to do so. The first thing to do is set goals, setting valid goals, achieving the goals, taking into account the obstacles that may appear, having rules of action, having faith in our possibilities. Here are some characteristics of variable goals. Valid goals. Yeah, that's all of them. I don't think the colors mean something bad or good, just that they're here. Valid goals are measurable, attainable, motivating, demanding, written, with deadlines, consistent, company and staff, participatory, and flexible. And now we come to, what do we call it? Okay, all right, you're going to do it that way. The rules of action of the objectives. What was this one called? That was the characteristics of valid goal. The rules of actions of the objectives. Knowing what we want, trusting our strengths, gathering all the information available, rejecting negative and doubtful attitudes, planning partial targets, taking advantage of all of the opportunities, focusing on all the areas. Now we come being aware of emotions. Emotions, whether we like it or not, are always present, and they can alter our work often positively, as they can help us face emergencies. However, there are also emotions that can impose constraints on the effective action of our objectives, and it is in these that we need to be control. There are emotions often related to our physical health that motivate us to work, and we should always try to make the best use of them. Always trying to improve. Everyone can improve, and we always need to aim higher and never settle. Aim high and never settle for less. In order to succeed, improvement, however, is only possible if we face challenges with excitement and enthusiasm. Many people do not achieve greater personal and professional growth because they impose limits on themselves, such as thinking that something cannot be achieved because it requires too much work or because it is beyond their abilities. And below there are characteristics that show personal maturity and help us improve. The ability to be impartial, be sincere, adhere to values, seek perfection, feeling guilty for our selfishness, controlling our anger, accepting others and ourselves. No one is better than the next. Giving without expecting anything in return, being frank in human relations, being kind, being capable of being alone without feeling anxiety, keeping promises, accepting criticism, and seeing it as an opportunity to grow, cooperating, not feeling ashamed of emotions, enjoying privacy, being responsible and dedicated to work, accepting and facing the risks that may arise, being flexible, having a sense of humor, being emotionally balanced, feeling free, being able to love those who do not think the same as we do, being objective and reasonable. Facing the team, creating a positive attitude within the team. It is said that team responds to a leader if he or she creates a positive and favorable attitude towards them. Therefore, if a leader trusts his or her team and is positive, the team will respond in the same way. Great leaders create an attitude around them that encourages the team in contributing in this way to people getting results. A good leader is the mirror of what needs to be done, what he or she wants to see in his or her team. He or she needs to bear in mind that if a commitment is wanted, then he or she should be the one who commits first. If commitment is wanted, yeah. Getting others to achieve goals. A leader does not achieve goals, a team does. So he or she has to get the results for people, which require knowing how the team members work. Whether the goals are achieved or not depends on motivation, involvement, and attitude. Being a boss or a leader of a team implies a lot of influence and power over the team, and it is necessary to keep that capacity in mind. Making difficult decisions. Making difficult decisions is part of being a boss or a team leader, and it should never be avoided or postponed, since obtaining a series of results, positive or negative, depends on it. If we're not willing to make difficult decisions, we put our team on the line because the responsibility we have taken on implies the ability to respond to our team and takes risks without being afraid of failure or losing the job. So, gearing yourself towards action. There is no point in having a passive and thoughtful leader who does not get down to work to achieve objectives in the shortest possible time. Reflection is necessary, but in the end, one is valued for the ability to achieve objectives. Knowing what team coaching is and what techniques should be used to develop people is essential for leading a team. Now we come to dealing with complexity. As the world progresses, everything becomes more complex. Before, complexity and changes were occasional, and now they are constant. In order to lead the team, one needs to deal with all these changes. Having a great sense of control. A team A team leader can sometimes feel lonely and discouraged. He or she may not have anyone to turn to for support, which means that a leader's ability to self-regulate and self-manage must be greater. He or she should not have the tendency to fall into despair. Now we come to focusing on development. Fulfilling the orders of a leader makes no sense if in reality a team has no autonomy or possibility of development. A team is more powerful than the sum of its parts. Teams that operate with autonomy, responsibility, and creativity are aimed to be developed. Changing your perspective, leaders may look at team members through the prism of their abilities and inabilities. If they focus on their abilities, they will find capable people all around them. The best leaders make people believe in their abilities and at the same time never doubt their own ability to lead the team. Now we come to learning how to deal with the dynamics of a team. Well, we know the team, its phases, role. We need to know the team, its phases, roles, and dysfunctions, and how to encourage people to work together to their best advantage. It is very easy to carry out a single project, but when we have to work together for years, hidden dynamics appear, conflicts that in many cases waste a large amount of energy. Furthermore, these conflicts have to be resolved, and otherwise the team may suffer, suddenly work differently, and leaders need to handle or adapt to these changes. Then a team leader needs to be patient. Leading a team is a long-distance race, and there's no point in wanting to go fast. A leader should act strategically and progress little by little. Wow. Sold to the man in striped pajamas.